Hi everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I'm so happy to have you here today. Today's tutorial, we're going to be talking about the brand new HTVRONT Auto Tumbler Press. Now before we get started, be sure that you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming. Now we're going to talk all about how to use this press. I'm going to pull all the stuff out of the box, tell you everything that comes with it, tell you how to use it. We're going to make some mistakes. We're going to make some good stuff. We're going to try a couple of different things so that we can get a feel for this machine. Now I do want to give you a look at the top of the machine really quick just before we get started. All the buttons are there on the front, and then this is where your heating element is. This is really cute too. It's a little glittery and it's really, really pretty. So without further ado, let's get started.
We're of course first going to unpackage this. This thing is packaged really well. My box got a little beat up, but my press was perfectly fine. Now this comes with everything you need to get started. So I think you're going to really enjoy this. This little packet just had some information in it, warranty information, things like that. You get 2 silicone mats, 2mm and 4mm thickness. You also get some heat gloves, which are super important so you don't burn yourself when you're taking out your blanks, and some heat tape in case you don't already have any. You're also going to, of course, get the machine. Now, this was a little difficult to get out of the box for me, so I would either recommend putting it on the floor or like I do, I'm going to flip it upside down to get it out of the box. It is packaged in there nice and tight, and it's super easy to get out once you kind of flip it over. Now, this thing is not super heavy, so I feel like most people would have no problem unboxing and moving this around on their table. Again, it's packaged really well, and there is a piece of foam that you'll need to take out that's in the machine itself, so don't forget to take that out. And then your plug is also going to be in that round compartment, so you'll want to pull that out as well. This just plugs into any old outlet, nothing crazy fancy. Now, to take out your inner piece, your heating element, you pull that orange little tab, and then you can pull out your heating element, your sleeve. This is cool because you can change the sleeve out for the Stanley style tumblers, which is what I'm going to do here. Now, I will say that if you have to get this lined up onto these rails, and it was not easy to do when I couldn't see the rails, and I don't get it in correctly here, but I do fix it. So when you're doing this, you want to make sure you can see what you're doing. So I would actually turn it towards yourself. I was trying to show you guys, and it just wasn't making it easy, but you want to line it up so that it's on these metal rails, push it in until it clicks, and then it is installed. It's super easy to change these out, and you don't have to wait till they cool down. And then you have a sleeve for your Stanley style tumblers as well. So it's really easy to unpackage this.
First thing we're going to do is plug it in, and this just goes into any regular plug. There's nothing special about that. So let me get it plugged in. Now, this does have some buttons on the front that you guys will see here. You've got power, time, temp, the up, down, all the things. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. Now, I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but there is some fun glitter in this, which is really pretty. This thing is going to heat up, and it heats up this center portion, which is your heating element. So this part that's right in here in the middle. So it's all very, very simple, and it seems pretty self-explanatory. So I would assume that if we want to set the time and the temp, we use these buttons. Let's see what our directions tell us. Not a whole heck of a lot. Nothing. All right, we're just going to try and see what happens. So I'm going to hit the temperature button first. So that definitely sets our temperature here. And then I think this one here is the time. And then I'm not sure. Oh, that's the pressure. Okay, so this one's our pressure button. And then this is how we set things. This will be the button you press when you're ready to actually press it down and like have the tumbler press it. So let's get our tumbler set while this heats up. I gotta double check heat for these tumblers as well. So for the temperature, we want to go to about 380. So what I need to do is I'm going to hold this button down, and it'll count by tens. And then we'll do time, and the time's like 45 to 75. I like to do about 70 seconds. That usually works for me. Now, once that's set, you can change your pressure, and you do want a really heavy pressure. So I'm going to set this guy as heavy as he goes, which is to 155 pounds. So I just did that by pressing those front buttons. So I'm going to set this over to the side, and then we'll put the design onto our tumbler. Now you're gonna want some butcher paper, you're gonna want whatever design, and you're gonna print this out on your sublimation printer, and this is the design we're gonna use. Now you're gonna have to ignore if my colors aren't amazing because we have some issues. My sublimation printer isn't printing quite right now, and I just haven't had time to fix it. So I'm gonna trim this down a little bit so that we can get this to match up really, really nicely. And I'm just gonna use my paper trimmer. Make sure that's even. And I'm just gonna trim off these little edges. If this doesn't match up perfectly, I'm a little out of practice when it comes to sublimation. So if it's not perfect, we're not gonna judge. We're just doing this to see how we like the press, not so much on how amazing I did lining up my design and cutting my design. So this is more so just to see what we think about our press. Let me put this over to the side. Now what you're gonna wanna do is you're going to wrap your tumbler. Now you can cut the top and the bottom off if you want to. I don't really care. I actually made this a little too big because I'm using a little bit of a different size tumbler than I thought I had. So it's all right. And I'm gonna use my fun paper or my tape dispenser, which I love. Love that tape dispenser. So what you'll do is you're gonna wrap this around your cup. Now, like I said, is it gonna fit my cup perfectly? It might not, because my cup is slightly like off on its sizing. Because like I said, I chose a cup size that I thought I had and I don't. So I'm just gonna do my best here to get this lined up. We'll do it with a like big cup too and try the other piece that goes in just to see what we think. But as of right this second, I don't have the right size, but it's fine. So I'm just gonna make sure I get tape all the way down the seam because I don't want the seam to pop up. I normally don't use a ton of tape, but because this seam isn't touching, I'm going to make sure to tape the whole seam down. And you want to make sure that this is on your cup pretty darn tight. That way it doesn't like lift or anything. So I've got that taped down. Now you're going to tape your butcher paper. Just a quick tip, don't put your butcher paper so that it's on the same seam. I find that that tends to leave a little bit of like an issue of shadowing. So I'm just going to put a couple pieces here. Now our press did just beep because it's ready to go. Now what you want to do is you're going to wrap this in the silicone little wrap guy here. So this is for your silicone wrap. You've got one that is 2 millimeters. I didn't clearly get that on quite tight enough, but that's okay. And then this one is a 4 millimeter. So this one's quite a bit thicker than this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this around my cup. So you can see this big hole. You're gonna take and wrap your silicone. Now listen, if you're new to this, wear your gloves while doing this. And you're gonna place this in to the hole here. And you just kind of feed it in like so. And you wanna make sure your cup is fully into the sleeve or the heating element here, which is this center piece. So once I've got it in there, I'm gonna move this again just so you can see what I'm doing. You are gonna press the R button. There's this little light up R. Press that. It's going to squeeze your cup real good. And then it's going to start counting down your time. Now you can pretty much leave this to do its thing, clean up a little bit, throw away anything you need to while this heats. So I'm gonna speed this part up so you don't have to sit here for 50 gazillion years. So it's gone in 70 seconds, it automatically opens. You wanna make sure that you do wear heat gloves. And I'm gonna use this second piece of silicone because silicone is a heat resistant material, and use that to put this on to my table. And I'm just gonna pull it out, and you can pull the silicone wrap and it'll come right out. And you can honestly just put that silicone wrap right on top of the other. That's one thing that's really nice about those silicone wraps. Now, I am a person who is just going to tear this off right away. I don't wait. You can, I just choose not to, but it's just personal choice for me, like if I wait, and I don't wait. So I'm gonna get this off, and you can see, like I have the heat gloves on, obviously. This is all garbage. You don't wanna reuse your butcher paper. Now, I will say for this part, I do need to take my glove off, and voila, peeled the tape. Gonna peel that, and the image didn't transfer amazing. We didn't really get any transfer up here where this section is, And we've got a little bit of transfer issues towards like the tops and stuff. So what do we think happened? I'm not sure. I may not have heated it long enough. It may not have gotten a good pressure around that area. So we're going to try again with another cup. I'm going to have to go get another one, but you can see it's just not, it's not as good as I would have liked. Now I do want to try it with this style cup. I have a picture that I'm going to use that is made for the Stanleys, so I don't know if it's going to fit. I'm going to double check like time and temp just to make sure that I've got those set correctly. That way it's not like a time or temp issue. Now we're going to go ahead and put the picture on this one. This is a cup that came with the press. So it might be a little bit different measurements than what I have for my images, but these are the images that I'm going to use. It's kind of like a bat. And this one I'm not going to have to cut perfectly. Now this does have a handle, but the handle has been removed. So you do have little tabs that you need to keep in mind when you are using this. So I'm going to wrap this and I'm going to go from handle to handle and just see like how much space, because you can see this is quite a bit larger than the Stanley that I measured. Leave it to me. So what I want to do is I'm trying to get this pretty even onto the cup. And we're going to go ahead and tape it down. Now I'm just going to tape it really quickly here on this side. I'm going to pull it super tight and tape it super quick over here. And I'll add more tape here in just a minute. I'm just going to tape the edges. I'm not going to need to tape around this part. I never do, never have issues. But this is definitely a tapered designed edge. We're just going to overlap. I'm not, again, not real concerned about it being perfect. I just want it on there. Okay. Now because it's going to overlap, I'm going to have to pull it super tight together here and try to get it. I want it, it's okay if it hangs over the bottom a little bit. It's because I don't want it to taper too much on the top here, like around this part. So I just want to make sure that it's relatively tight. Now again, this is not a tutorial on how to do sublimation. I'm not trying to like make this perfect. I'm just trying to see if this machine works and what we think of it. So again, I'm going to put tape all down these seams, just on this side here. Now another thing is we have to change out this heating element, and I should have probably turned this off to let that heating element cool down. Let me go ahead and turn it off. I'm going to take the heating element out even though it's hot, and I'll put it right on the silicone so that it can sit on something so it doesn't get hot. But if you can, let it cool before you take it out. And I showed you how to take it out before. You just pull that little orange like piece and then it'll come out. So let me just pop this hot one out. And you can see it comes out really, really easy. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but just trust me, it comes out so simple. And then she's warm. So I'm going to put the element in that is for these cups so you can see. This one is way bigger. It weighs a ton. What you'll do is you want to make sure you get it on those metal rails, which is so hard to show you guys on camera. So I'm going to let this heat up, and I'll scooch this so you can see it, and I'll turn it in just a second. But let that heat up because it's got to heat the new element up, and then we'll try doing this Stanley style cup next. I want to turn this the right way so you can see which way I have to put this in. And there's the little picture on the top of the metal piece that tells you which direction this goes. So you want to make sure that this little tabs are in there, and then you slide the smaller section, so your thinner piece, in first. And while you're doing that, you want to make sure that your handle tabs are in the center of the opening. And so you just push that through. If you're worried that you're going to like touch anything hot, you can use your gloves. I'm not going to bother putting it on. I'm just going to push this through. And then I just make sure it's nice and straight. It's not quite as straight as I want it to be. So I am going to just adjust it a little bit. Okay, once I've done that, from here, I'll let you guys see this from the side. I'm going to hit the R button so that it squishes it. It's going to squish her closed, and then it's going to heat up. It's going to do this for 100 seconds this time, and we're going to hope that we end up with better results. All right, it's all done, so it opens on its own. Now again, you're gonna wanna make sure you have something to set your cup on, which I'm gonna use the silicone mat that's right here. And I'm just gonna poke that out. If the silicone stays in, the silicone stays in. Not real concerned about that. But what we're gonna do, let me slide this guy out of the way again. Now I will say what I like is that the back, the sides, none of that's hot, just that center part is a little bit hot. So if you're concerned about like burning yourself on it, let me turn it so that it fits better. I wouldn't worry too much because it doesn't really stay hot. Well, the bottom came off. Oh, we got a really pretty nice press on that. There's a little bit of a seam where we had the seam, but other than that, not bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the edge, the top part peeled off. This one does seem like it worked much better, so I think maybe I just didn't have a good time on the other one. So I'm gonna grab the tweezers and peel off the tape best I can, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So give me just a second to get all the tape off. Okay, this one, so much better. Now again, remember, we didn't have like quite the right sizing, but the design really came out better. Now we do have a little bit of issue on the bottom with two seams, but those were my fault. Because it wasn't cut to the right size, and then it got a little fold in it. So if I look at like the base here, I just didn't have it quite right, and there's a little fold in that base. But I think in general, like this would be really good for Stanley cups, as long as you measured them correctly, or like the Stanley style cups. You just need to make sure you measure your size correctly, because obviously I did not, because we do have a pretty big gap, but that's okay. I think it looks pretty good. The colors, even though my printer is giving me some problems, the colors came out really nice. The lines are very crisp.
Now I'm going to pop in and do another cup here just to give this a trial, since that first one really came out awful. I'm wrapping my design around my cup, and then I'm going to tape the seam down to make sure that that holds. That's one key thing you want to do, and you want to make sure that that paper's really tight, which I did on the first one too. But one thing I'm changing with this one is that I'm going to wrap this in the thicker silicone wrap, and I'm pressing this one for 100 seconds, and I'm pressing it at 380 degrees. And I also rotate this about after that first press, just to make sure that like none of the image is missed and it's well put on. So I let it press, I rotate, and then I take it out. Now the auto press on this is so easy to use. You just press that button. Now, once it's done, I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to take off all of the paper and the tape and things, but I'm going to rotate it, and my butcher paper fell off. So I just said, whatever, let's see what happens. At this point, it can't be a bad thing to try something new. So now that it's done, what I do is I grab some tweezers, and again, I just pull off all of that tape, and I'm actually really happy with the way that this one came out. I think pressing it longer and hotter made a big difference, but you can see that it pressed that design really, really well. It looks good, it's crisp, and it's clean.
I've got this set to 380 degrees for 100 seconds, and this time I'm gonna rotate my cup and press it twice, because that's what I did for this one, and this one came out really, really good. So let me let this finish heating up, and I'll show you how we put the cup in again, and we'll try and see if it comes out better the second time. Now, when you load the cup, I'm gonna turn this so that you can see a little bit better, because you wanna load it from the side, and not the side with the orange thing. You wanna load it from this side. Then you wanna wrap your cup in your silicone mat. Now, one thing that I want to mention to you, I like to make sure that my seam and my seam for my silicone mat don't match up. That's just a personal thing. If they match up and you do it, it's fine. I mean, I just don't like to do it that way. So you get them wrapped around each other. Now you can do it either way, whichever way fits best for your cup. So this is actually a little bit longer than it is tall. So I'm gonna wrap it this way, because that's gonna wrap fully around my cup. And then you're gonna slide it into your heating element here, which is this centerpiece. And you can let go of your silicone wrap. It'll automatically rewrap it around there. But once you get it kind of in there, you're good. Slide that in. And like I said, I'm using the larger one for this. Now from here, you're going to be hitting the green R button, which is over on the side. I'm gonna hit that button, and it's gonna go ahead and press this for 100 seconds. Once it does that, I'm gonna rotate my cup, because that seemed to work really well. Once it's done, it's gonna beep. Now, like I said, I'm not taking this out. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use a heat glove. I might need both, but I'm definitely gonna use a heat glove, if not two of them. Let's put two of them on. And I wanna rotate it. And the reason I'm everything on the floor. The reason I'm rotating this is because there's still a spot on the heat press where it's not fully like feeling like it's heating. So all I do is I just go in and I turn it. Now it's not always super easy to reach in here to turn. So you can go from both sides and just put your hand inside of your cup and turn it, and then you want to make sure that that silicone mat is inside your little area, which mine is not, so I just need to adjust that a little bit. And this is why we wear our heat gloves, because I do have to put my hand in here pretty strong. So now again, I'm going to hit the R button, and it's going to close, and it's going to heat. Now I turned it maybe like, I'd say like a little more than a quarter turn. So we'll let it reheat for that 100 seconds again, and we'll see how it does. This is almost done. We've got about 10 seconds. So what I want to recommend is have the other silicone pad out like we did before. And I'm going to go ahead and get my gloves on, and I'll pull this out. Now again, pulling it out, not always easy. So you definitely want your gloves. I always just kind of try to pull the silicone mat a little bit, and then I push the cup from the other side because it does still fit relatively tight with that silicone mat. So I'm going to pull both out, put both of these items right here. And then I'm going to grab my tweezers, because I did put those away, because obviously this is a different day. I'm wearing a different shirt. I am going to pull the tape off of this, and we're going to pull the design and see what it looks like. Now, I like to use the tweezers for the tape because the tape is hot, and on top of that, the cup itself is hot. So I can even feel the heat through the gloves, and it looks like it did much better this time. So much better. So I think our issue was that we used the wrong size silicone mat for that. So that's something you definitely want to check before you put your cup in, is use the right silicone mat. And that's why I like to show you all the steps of my process, including me messing up, because we all know that we're all going to mess up at some point in the process. So let me let the cup cool down. I'm going to give you guys some closer views of what our cups look like, how they turned out. I'll show you all three, actually all four, because I did four. And then we will discuss how we feel about this machine.
Here are all of our 4 finished cups. Now, this one again is the Stanley one, which I think came out really well, other than my poor placement of the image, but otherwise really nice. This is the first one we did with the silicone sheet that was too small, and we didn't press it long enough, so it didn't come out great. But this one came out really, really well. This was with the thicker silicone and the longer press time. And then this one was just that test one to see if we could get them to come out really well. And I think everything came out well once I got all my settings and time down.
Now, I do want to share my final thoughts with you, because what is a review without some final thoughts? So thought number 1 is, how do I feel about the look of the machine? And I think it's really nice. It's pretty compact. I don't feel like it's going to take up a ton of room in a craft room if you have a smaller craft room. This is pretty compact. I would say like maybe like the size of like a 4-slice toaster and a half. So like maybe like a toaster and a half. It's pretty decent size. It's also not particularly heavy, so I can lift it no problem, and I don't think that anyone would have too much issue as far as lifting this and moving this around their craft room would go. It also feels like it is really well built. I don't feel like it feels cheap. It feels like a thicker plastic, because this is plastic. The outside is plastic. This is also made with plastic and metal, but they do feel very, very like well made, I guess I would say the words. The buttons feel really nice. The reader out is really easy to read. And the other thing that I really like is this is actually hot still from pressing a cup, and I can touch it everywhere except in the heating element, which is the center part, which is like the little circle here. And I also think that it's very, very easy to change out your heating element, which you guys saw me do. You can literally do it in seconds. And even if it's hot, you can still take it out and switch it for the other one, which I think is really nice. Just make sure you have a safe place to set your hot heating element. You don't want to set that like directly on your desk. I would recommend having like a silicone pad or like a hot mat, something like that, that you can get like at the craft store or the kitchen store, something like that. Super easy to use. Now, how do I feel it pressed the cups? Once I stopped making mistakes, I think it did an incredible job. I think that the little sleeve that's made for this style cup, which I always call the Stanley style, but this style cup I think works so well. Once I really have some time to really perfect my sublimation designs, that will work beautifully. I don't sublimate a lot, so it's not something that I have perfected. And I know there are some of you out there that can make the most beautiful cups. Please tell me your secrets. And obviously, we made a mistake with this one by using too small of a sleeve. But that happens. Nobody's perfect, and I like to leave the mistakes in so that you guys can see what happens. So then I decided to try one that wasn't a full wrap, that was just this one that says Rescued is my favorite breed, and this one came out perfectly. Now, what did I do differently? I used the thicker silicone mat, but I also pressed it twice and rotated it, because regardless, there's always a small spot that just doesn't seem to get the heat, because there is always going to be a little bit of a seam. And that's what I did with this cup as well. I pressed this one twice and it came out beautifully. So all in all, I really, really like this press. If you are looking for an automatic press that can do some tumblers, some straight and taper tumblers, and that can do like this one, this press is fantastic. Now I'm going to link it down below for you so that you can grab this if you want it. I think it's such a quality product from HTVRONT. As you guys know, I've used many of their products before, and some have been misses, but most have been hits, and I think this one is definitely a hit if you're especially looking to do some really easy pressing with your tumbler. I also love the automatic features with these, because if you're somebody who maybe has some mobility issues, maybe you've got some injuries, whatever it may be, a simple button press is all you have to do to press your tumbler. And to switch out the little heating element, it's just a simple pull out and it comes right out. Now I'm not going to pull this all the way up because it is still hot, but it is so easy to get this all together. Change out your heating elements. Now, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll also link the designs that I used in case any of you want to use the same ones. Those will be linked below as well. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.